Welcome to Smart Wealth with Joshua.
Your daily stock analysis and catalyst talk. Today we're looking at Firefly Aerospace.
If you find our talks useful, please consider subscribe, like, and comment underneath to support our podcast. And if there's any stock you want us to look into, leave it in the comment section below.
So let's get into the analysis.
Okay, so let's unpack this one. Firefly. For anyone who's even, casually watching the space sector, this is a name you just can't avoid.
Not at all.
And what we're really seeing here is a company that's it's scaling explosively. I mean, it's almost a perfect example of rocket-fueled acceleration.
It really is, and you can see it right in the numbers. When you look at the last 12 months, the performance just screams expansion. We're talking about 87.2% year-over-year revenue growth.
87%, that is substantial.
It's massive, especially for a heavy industry like space launch. They've hit over $111 million in trailing revenue.
Yeah.
That shows they're really, really succeeding at capturing contracts.
That kind of growth definitely puts them in that, that high-risk, high-reward basket.
But let's zoom in on the recent momentum, because Q3 2025 felt like a real turning point, didn't it?
Absolutely. Q3 showed just how fast they're ramping things up.
Yeah.
Now, they did miss analyst expectations, but only slightly. They brought in $15.5 million versus, I think, a $16.8 million estimate.
Okay.
But the sequential growth was just breathtaking. Revenue basically doubled. It jumped 98% quarter over quarter.
Wow.
And still showed a solid 38% year-over-year gain.
So that near doubling from one quarter to the next, that tells you the pipeline is just on fire. And management seemed to confirm that, right? They raised the full year guidance right after.
They did, and that's a huge signal of confidence to the market, especially when you think about the sheer complexity of scaling up rocket production.
It is, but this is where we have to hit the brakes a little and do the reality check. The profitability check, yeah. This is essential context for you as an investor. This isn't software. It's a company building heavy, expensive industrial infrastructure.
And that kind of aggressive expansion, that push for market share, it comes at a very, very high cost. We have to talk about that massive loss number. It's pretty hard to ignore.
It is. So let's look at the margins. On a trailing 12-month basis, their gross margins are still underwater. They're sitting at negative 4.9%.
Negative, okay.
And the net loss is substantial. We're talking almost $400 million in losses for the year. That breaks down to an EPS loss of about $2.49.
Okay, when a company loses almost $400 million, the first reaction is obviously concern. But we need to define that loss. Is this like a fundamental flaw in the business model, or is this the calculated cost of getting into the game?
It's overwhelmingly the latter. That huge loss, it's driven by $390 million in what they call other expenses, which is basically just code for massive R&D and capital spending.
So building out the factories, perfecting the Alpha rocket, all that stuff.
Exactly. They're burning cash to scale production, prove they're reliable, and this is critical, invest in R&D to stay ahead. You have to think of it less as a loss and more as the price of admission to the big leagues.
Cost of entry into the modern space race.
Yeah, you can compare it to the huge investment years for pioneers like, say, Amazon or Tesla.
So the whole bull case, then, rests on this idea that they're about to hit an inflection point, a point where all that investment starts paying off in profitable launches.
That is the crucial question.
And given how crowded the market is, I mean, why should we believe that path to positive margins is real? Analysts are forecasting this insane earnings growth, something like 75% a year.
Right, and the answer to that really comes down to execution and efficiency. They have two major levers they can pull here. The first is the high-margin integration of their recent SciTech acquisition. And second, they just brought in a new chief operating officer. His one and only mission is to streamline those operational costs and really achieve economies of scale.
And economies of scale, that just means more launches faster, a higher launch cadence. That's the real metric here.
Exactly, and the near-term targets already reflect that belief. The consensus is looking for Q4 revenue to jump significantly again, up to around $28 million.
If they hit that.
If they hit that, it's a powerful signal that the operational fixes are working and the cost per launch is finally coming down. You have to see that revenue climb.
Okay, let's pivot a bit to the competitive landscape. I mean, this market is saturated. You have huge players, state-backed agencies, other specialists like Rocket Lab. What makes Firefly different? What's their actual moat?
And what's so fascinating is their strategy. They didn't try to build the biggest rocket. They built the right rocket for a very specific, very high-demand niche. Their moat is built entirely around the nimble Alpha rocket.
Optimized for small to medium payloads.
Exactly, and that size is so important, especially for government and defense clients.
Why? What does it give them?
Two critical things: rapid response and low cost. The Alpha's design lets them provide national security launches almost on demand, and they can often beat rivals on both turnaround time and price. In the world of dedicated smallsats, that responsiveness is gold.
So they're basically offering the defense world flexible, just-in-time launch.
That's the core of it. But then they're layering on top of that. They're positioning themselves as a provider of high-value space infrastructure. I'm thinking about the Blue Ghost program here.
Right, the lunar landers.
The Blue Ghost landers put them in that lucrative, high-margin space infrastructure segment. That's a huge differentiator. But the biggest strategic move, the most defensive one, was definitely the SciTech acquisition.
Okay, so tell us more about that. How does buying a software company help a rocket company?
Because it turns them from just a logistics company into a full systems integrator, a mission partner. SciTech brings mission-proven defense software and, critically, big data processing capabilities.
So they're not just selling a ride to orbit anymore.
No, they're selling the entire solution. The vehicle, the secure data link, the processing for when the satellite gets up there.
Which completely changes the financial picture.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're providing all of that, you create really high switching costs for your customers, like the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
It's a much stickier relationship.
Absolutely. That combination, the launch plus the software, it locks in market share, and it creates this formidable barrier to entry for rivals. It is the difference between being a taxi service and being the full operational partner.
Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about how the market is actually reacting to all this.
Yeah.
Because that growth story has definitely translated into some pretty dramatic stock movement.
Oh, the technical charts have been on fire. The price just shot up from around $20 to over $24.50 in a really short amount of time. We saw days with over 30% intraday gains.
And that was driven by the Q3 results and the new analyst coverage, right?
Directly, yeah. A lot of new bullish coverage came out right then.
And that jump, that move above $20, that seems crucial. Does that kind of confirm that 20 is a solid support level now?
It absolutely does. The market is looking at $20 as a breakout point and a strong base. And right now, the technical momentum is very constructive. You had a classic RSI oversold bounce and implied MCD upturns that suggest the trend has more room to run. The underlying strength is clear. I mean, the stocks outperformed the market by over 11% in just the last week.
So there's serious accumulation happening based on these fundamentals we're talking about.
I think for sure. And when you look at what the analysts are projecting, well, the conviction is high.
And where are the targets?
Consensus targets are ranging from the low 40s all the way up to over $52. That translates to a potential upside of, what, 55 to over 94% from where we are now?
Okay, so that high upside potential brings us squarely to the other side of the coin, the risk. Because despite all this growth, all this optimism, sentiment is still pretty mixed. And that's because of the elephant in the room.
The litigation, yeah. This is the massive question. Can a high-growth, high-execution story really thrive with this legal cloud hanging over it? The company is facing securities class action lawsuits.
So what are the core allegations here? What are they being accused of?
The claims allege that the company overstated two big things around the time of their public debut. First, the actual readiness and reliability of the Alpha rocket.
The core product.
The core product. And second, the actual demand they had secured for their spacecraft. And these lawsuits, they introduce a lot of uncertainty.
Is there a specific date investors need to be watching for this, a deadline?
There is. The most immediate one is January 12, 2026. That is the deadline for the lead plaintiff to be selected. Any big news around that date could really hit sentiment hard no matter how well the rockets are flying.
And beyond the legal side, there's just the raw operational execution risk. This is still rocket science. It's an unforgiving field.
It is. That's the second major risk bucket. They have to execute perfectly while building the plane in midair, so to speak. The main risk is any kind of delay with the Alpha launch cadence. Every single delay pushes back that timeline to profitability.
And we can't forget about the financial volatility from those.
Yeah.
Those huge negative net margins. We call them an investment, but they're still a liability on the books.
Precisely. That negative net margin is a staggering negative 355%. You have to keep a close eye on that cash burn. So with all this, you should just expect high volatility. probably around 16.5% weekly. This is not a stock for the faint of heart.
Okay, so we have a clear map of the opportunity and the danger. Let's look at the calendar. What are the specific events you, the listener, need to be watching for? The catalysts.
The calendar is critical here. The single most important event is the Alpha Flight 7 mission. This is their official return to flight. A successful launch is paramount. It validates their reliability, it proves their engineering fixes worked, and it unlocks that higher cadence they need.
What else is on the radar for early 2026?
Keep an eye out for updates on Blue Ghost mission too. Any progress reports there could trigger a re-rating, but the next big one is February 25th, 2026. That's the next major earnings report.
And that's when we see if they hit that Q4 revenue number.
Exactly. See if they hit that $28 million target. Success there validates everything we've been talking about with operational efficiency.
So let's tie it all together. The investment thesis. If you had to give the elevator pitch, what's the bullish case in a nutshell?
It's a speculative growth play that is completely dependent on flawless execution. The core thesis is that the 87% revenue growth is their path to dominating the small sat market. The strategic moat, which was just dramatically strengthened by SciTech, turns them into a true national security partner.
And the Q3 numbers in the guidance lift are the proof points.
They're strong signals that they're managing those initial hurdles successfully, yes.
I think the key for anyone listening is to really understand the time frame here. This isn't a quick turnaround story.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing the swing trade.
That's exactly right. The way to think about it is one of two options. Either a swing trade into that February 2026 earnings report, trying to capture the hype around a successful Flight 7, or a patient, multi-year hold.
Waiting for that inflection point.
Waiting for the inflection point when a consistent launch cadence finally delivers sustained positive cash flow. It's a classic battle. Explosive growth potential versus very real execution and legal risk.
And you really have to monitor those legal developments closely. That January 12th deadline is looming, and any bad news there could just kill the momentum, regardless of a successful launch. Their future really hinges on executing perfectly on two fronts at once: engineering and legal.
Absolutely. The technical vision needs the backing of a solid legal strategy right now. If you found our talks useful, please subscribe to ensure you don't miss our next analysis.